Hello, epic viewers from around the multiverse. I'm here to bask in unprecedented glory, because today I'm going to elucidate why I'm fasting, even though my BMI is not yet 22.5, which is the BMI of normal weight. Now, a normal weight ranges from a BMI of 22.5 through 25, and anything above 25 constitutes an overweight or obese BMI. So at the moment, at this juncture, my BMI is unequivocally under 22.5, which is another reason why I'm freezing and shivering amid the summertime. It's cold 12 months out of the year where I live, which is quite a shame and quite a pity, but it is what it is. I detest and disdain living in a frigid environment fraught with inclement weather. Now let's move on. So why am I fasting? Why have I commenced a prolonged fast? Well, the crux of the issue is that I cannot afford to eat 7 days per week. Each and every meal, I typically eat 15 to 25 servings of vegetables, coupled with 40 whole fruits. And I've made modifications to my meal, but at the end of the day, I'm having 5 to 10,000 calories of fruits and vegetables per meal. And it's arduous for me to gain weight. I have a fast metabolism, and I process food rapidly, so I never get constipated, and my body does not act as a repository for anything I eat. So when I eat, I'll typically go to the bathroom 10 to 25 times per meal, so I'll just constantly expunge out what I'm eating, you know. And when you're eating fruits and vegetables, it's cumbersome to ramp up your weight, and it's quite a challenge. Now, the main issue appertains to finances. For me to eat 7 days a week, it would cost a minimum of $1,000 per month when buying everything non-organic, tainted with pesticides, insecticides, and other noxious chemicals from Walmart. So non-organic produce is a fortune. It's quite a shame and quite a pity, but I do not know any wholesalers in the vicinity where I live. So since there's no wholesalers nearby that I can buy avocados from, I have to make concessions and pay any price Walmart demands. But if you can't afford to eat, then you starve. It's as simple as that. Fruit trees should be planted everywhere. That'd be the panacea. That'd be the remedy to resolve world hunger. There's all these trees planted everywhere that don't bear any fruit. And the arable land supply is contracting, it's truncating, it's decreasing. So that's quite a shame and quite a pity, but it is what it is. And if you're a farmer, you have to pay these massive extortion fees in the form of property tax, so it's unaffordable to own land. So that option is off the table. Hopefully one day I can afford housing, hopefully I can have a giant garden, and hopefully I can plant fruit trees everywhere. Unfortunately, avocado trees take a minimum of 15 years to grow, so it will take ample time, and it could take decades for me to have a garden ripen with fruit. But hopefully I can ramp up my income, and if I'm willing to exchange my finite, sacrosanct, invaluable, non-replenishable time for money, even though it's an inefficacious way to make money, hopefully I'll be able to afford to buy more food in the future. But eating just 2 to 3 days a week at this moment costs roughly $500 per month, so that's even unaffordable. And eating 7 days a week is outside of the parameters of my budget. And I'm fortunate that a family member subsidizes my food expense. So I'm grateful for that, but even so, it's not enough for me to become morbidly obese, you know. I'm lucky at the moment if I could sustain my weight, and I would love to break my fast, even though the benefits of ketosis and autophagy are profound. But I don't need to prioritize terminating cancer cells and eliminating senescent cells and rejuvenating my DNA and detoxifying my body and repairing my immune system, especially since I have an alkaline body. Every food I eat is characterized by high levels of alkalinity. It leaves an alkaline residue in the body. Nothing I eat is acidic. So even if it's perceived to be acidic, with a pH level below 7. When it's digested, it leaves an alkaline residue in the body. Some acidic fruits encompass plums and blueberries. I refrain from eating them because even after being consumed, they have a pH level beneath 7, so they're deemed slightly acidic. I'm sure the effects are negligible, especially when balanced out with foods characterized by high levels of alkalinity, such as avocados, lemons, grapefruit. Grapefruit may appear to be acidic, but it's truly not. It leaves an alkaline residue. And when you eat these fruits, make sure you eat the peels, make sure you eat the skins, and make sure that you eat fruits and vegetables profusely. And if your diet is devoid of certain vitamins, minerals, or nutrients, make sure you supplement by having vegan variants of the nutrients you need. You can take a vitamin D3 supplement from a plant-based source, which is expensive. It's nearly $20 for this little bottle that can be consumed right away. Vitamin D3, I believe, is fat soluble, so it stays in the liver. And then you could also take a supplement of vitamin B12, so you can prolong your vessel. So, what else? Yeah, so maybe I'll be able to eat on Monday or Sunday, so my fast will likely be 4 to 5 days. I would typically eat for 2 to 3 days in a row, and then fast anywhere from 5 to 5.5 days. The longest I fasted was 9.5 days, because I had to pack and make a valiant attempt to salvage nearly everything I had, but I abhorrently failed in that endeavor. I lost roughly $700 worth of furniture. I lost roughly 100 shelves in conjunction with a leather chair and a sturdy quality table. So it's a shame and quite a pity, but it is what it is. Those are the repercussions and ramifications appertaining to being blindsided by a move. You either choose your material possessions, or you choose to lose them by sacrificing your time to eat. But for me to, I guess, expedite my meals, I'll have to cut out the calorie diluted foods and mostly focus on eating olives, avocados, and raw organic coconut shreds. So I've been trying to eat at least 5,000 calories of raw organic coconut shreds per meal. I prefer to eat at least 2 cans of olives per meal, which is 800 calories. They're expensive and they run out quickly. And I prefer to eat anywhere from 15 to 30 avocados per meal in conjunction with 15 to 25 servings of vegetables and a cornucopia of other fruits. I used to eat 14 tomatoes per meal, but I've tried to cut out tomatoes. I've tried to cut out that bulk and reduce my tomato intake from 5 to 7 tomatoes per meal so I could make room for the calorie-dense foods. I recollect tomatoes having roughly 30 calories, but if avocados have 237 calories each, it's more efficient if I eat avocados instead of copious amount of tomatoes, especially if they take the same amount of time to eat. So perhaps I have to narrow down my meals to just the calorie-dense fruits and contract my meals so that I can finish them in a more timely manner. You know, if I want to be able to show up to work on time in a punctual manner, then I don't have the luxury of being able to eat 8 to 12 hours per day. You know, even if I could afford to do so, I don't have the time. I can't balance that out with work. And if I try to balance that out with work, it would encroach on my sleep too much. As of now, because of all the work I have to do, I'm getting anywhere from 1 to 4 hours of sleep per night. 2 nights ago, I got 0 hours. And then the night before that, I think I got roughly 2 hours, or possibly 4 at most. But I get awakened typically 10 to 20 times per night, and I sleep on the floor because there's nowhere else to sleep. And the lock for my door is defective, so every time someone comes in the room, they thrust the door open, and it slams into my foot and induces severe inflammation. Plus, sleeping on the floor induces inflammation against the back, so that's unfortunate. and there's nowhere else I could sleep in this room because the elliptical and treadmill consume nearly all the space in the room, and the room is not spacious, so the only vacant spot in the room is near the door, and there's no way I could preclude the door from being thrusted open by family members. If they're going to be incourteous, then it's their impropriety to thrust the door open on me and wake me up 10 to 20 times per sleep session for no reason, and my slumber is being disturbed in perpetuity, so I don't get any REM sleep, I don't get any quality sleep. I'm constantly being awakened and disturbed, and I'm trying to function, but it's arduous when you don't have enough fuel in the brain and in the body, you know. Your body becomes more lethargic, more debilitated, and more impaired. So I love to prioritize eating. That should take precedence above everything else. But if you can't afford food, you can't afford food. But yet again, as long as I could sustain my weight and gradually build it up over time, then I should be fine, you know. But it's arduous to contend with the situation when you're fatigued, ravenous, and when you have to just constantly work. So hopefully I can pull myself out of the muck and mire and be able to afford more food in the future and attain a higher paying job in the future, so that I'm not expending my finite time for a pittance of fiat currency that can't get me far. So I hope that you found this video to be insightful and enthralling. I'd prefer to desist from these 4 to 5 day fasts, but if I can't afford to eat each day of the week, then it is what it is. Eating a meal is outrageously expensive where I live. Eating raw fruits and vegetables that are non-organic, that are tainted with pesticides, insecticides, and other noxious, deleterious ingredients is just unaffordable. And it's too bad that 80 to 90% of the food gets pitch purged and wasted and relegated to the garbage bins. If regulations were abolished, if taxation were abolished, if fruit trees were planted everywhere, the price of fruit and vegetables would be at an all-time low, and less food would be discarded, and food would be far more affordable, and food would be profusely available beyond its current quantity. But I have to concede to whatever prices the stores demand, and if I can't afford the food, then it is what it is. So I just have to stop ranting and raving and just accept the situation at hand. I hope that you found this video to be insightful and enthralling. Hopefully this situation and this context and this scenario never befalls upon you. Hopefully you could afford to eat every day, and hopefully you could afford to eat as much as you want, and hopefully you can afford to buy organic produce and eat as many raw fruits and vegetables until your heart is content and satiated. So I hope that you found this video to be intriguing and insightful. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.